Hi guys, how are you?
Hey,
Hey,
doing good. How
like,
about you?
good.
I'm doing great. So to start, I've been asking everyone this question, but in the first room I interviewed in, it reminded me that when I was a teenager, I wanted a Chevy Impala because it's supernatural, and I had to learn the hard way that power steering wasn't a thing back then. So I'm only 5'2", I physically wouldn't be able to turn the car. So I wanted to ask you guys, was there ever a car that you wanted when you were younger, or like your dream car that you learned you either can't get anymore or like couldn't get for one reason or another?
The
Yeah,
Batmobile, just not for sale.
that would be
You
only
can get one. It's just not the
Adam
Batmobile.
West State has a lock on that one. No, I wanted a Dodge Power Wagon until I saw how much they cost, and like quarter mil, no thanks, dude. But I
Or
will say, hey, just so you know, the Chevy Impala, even though it doesn't necessarily have power steering, they have kits where you can wire up electric power steering to it. So
right. I live in New York and I'll have a Chevy Impala on the streets of Brooklyn.
there you go.
Just, people will take pictures with it. It's New York. It's fine.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Lightning McQueen is literally lives up the street from me. But I do want to ask you guys. So what I at first I thought this show was gonna be a period piece because I heard Fallout Boy as soon as it started and was like, oh no, please don't tell me that this is gonna be like a period piece from when I was in high school. But it wasn't. It just happened to be a really great Fallout Boy song as soon as the show started. So I wanted to ask you guys, do you know of any songs that are in the show that you're excited that you guys got, or was there a song that you were listening to while preparing for it that you hope eventually ends up in the series?
I mean, I really loved that they put Mr. Brightside in. I think I can't tell you what the scene is, but the scene that does have Mr. Brightside in it is one of my favorite scenes in the show. I think that Johnny Norris has such a when he's writing, and I don't want to give away Johnny's like process here, but he has a playlist that he listens to,
I do the
and
same thing. That's fun.
I've seen the playlist, and it's such a good one. And he's got such great musical taste that pairs so well with the show. I'm really happy with the song choices that came in. But what about you, Nick? What was your favorite song?
Yeah, I really can't speak to the music that's in the show because I'm waiting for the premiere event that we're doing to watch
Mhm.
it for the first time. But I do agree with what Uriah is saying. Like Johnny's got some great music taste, and his process really like lends itself to writing to music. But for a song I'd like to see in the show, like How Soon Is Now, The Smiths. I just really like that opening. Like I feel like starting a race with that would be cool. I don't know, just since we're dreaming here, you know.
This is just the dream. This is the manifestation chat where you're
Yeah,
just
the
here's the
manifestation
song.
station.
Yeah, exactly. That makes me really happy because I love writing two songs, and I've always been told like you can't do that because that's expensive. So to see that this show straight up does it and does it well, I'm like, shh,
Well,
Shush.
it's
Johnny did it.
crazy how
You don't know
expensive
anything.
it is. I mean, like it ends up being such a huge part of your budget, and you never really think about it. But it
Yeah,
is an important part. It's such an important part. It's the audio setting of the show.
a good soundtrack makes or breaks something. That's why I was like, Ryan Philbin, another thing with a good soundtrack. Great. It's what
Yeah.
I'm now looking for when Ryan's in something. But also, I also love that this show has so many characters that you kind of love. Like Nicholas, this poor kid just wants a friend. And like, I was like, I was like, if you don't stop being mean to this small child, just like let him have a friend. And also, making your own motorcycle is cool. I don't understand why kids are like not impressed by that. So when you guys are playing these characters who on the paper have right out the gate so much information about them that an audience can love or hate or whatever it is, what for you is the best like bit about your character that you connected with and you knew who they were?
I think for me, it was probably Marcel's like hope or eagerness or resilience because he's got a lot going on at home and it doesn't stop him from being this cheery like dreamer that wants to have the best group of friends in the best town and like he just wants to have a good time. And I think for me, that was like one of the most important things I had to get down with Marcel is like you can have everything go down at home, but when you're at school and when you're hanging out with your friends, it's like none of that matters. So
I'll throw my 2 cents in the ring as well for Nick. I remember when we were doing the table read for the first time, and it was like the first line that Nick had in the show, and we had a grid set up like this on Zoom,
Mhm.
and everybody's jaw dropped because he was just so perfect for Marcel. Everyone knew right then and there that like this is Nick's role. But no, as far as my own character with Curtis, there's a resilience that he has there where it doesn't matter if people don't like him. He doesn't care.
Mhm.
Knows who he is, and I think he is lonely, but I think that lonely is not as bad as an inauthentic compromise. I think he's going to be himself no matter what. And he's going to wait until the right people come into his life. And I think that's important. I think, a lot of times we change ourselves just so we fit in a mold that we might not necessarily be, content in. And I think that's a dangerous slope. And I think that Curtis is really good at avoiding that. But yeah, he falls into other problems as well. So he's a really interesting character. He's extremely flawed, but I think he's got some great core principles around him.
Yeah, and this is a question it's gonna start with a character that Nick has played, but it's for both of you. So Nick, it is so interesting to me that you went from playing Leo, who is obviously the leader of the Ninja Turtles and a man who has a lot of opinions on what needs to be done with a team, to a teen who's like, I will do whatever you ask me to do. If you want me to go to the store, fine, I'll use my money, whatever. And it makes me want to know as actors, when you are playing a new character, do you search for something that is completely different from what you've done in the past? Or when you approach something, do you try and make it as different as something that you've already done so then people aren't like, oh, that's the same character from so and so?
I think for me, I just try to be what the character needs me to be. I don't really think about it like with knowledge of what I've done before, because with this show we had the just absolute pleasure of having like the best writers ever. So reading the script for the first time, I saw who Marcel was, and I didn't think like, oh, I can't play it like this other guy, or oh, I can't do the same thing as this other role that I did. It was just like seeing Marcel for who he was and what the script needed him to be, and just fitting that without any like attachment to anything else.
I think that's the best way to come at a character, though.
Mhm.
If you're bringing in stuff from previous projects, then I don't know. I feel like that's a dangerous game to play. I think Nick, 100% was right from the gate able to nail that. I think that we all kind of fit in our characters really, really well. I think casting department did a. I'm biased, I got the job. I think they did a great job picking us.
They picked well. They casted me.
Yeah.
I said casted. They cast me. I hate the casted thing online, and then I said it out loud like a fool. But I love the show. I think it's such a fun watch. And so thank you guys so much for talking with me. I can't wait for everyone else to get to see this show.
Thank you. This was great.
Well, thank you guys.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
thanks. Have a great one. So to start, I have to say, before they brought me in this room, they said Josh and Drake, and I was like, I feel like that is a strategic move. How often have you two been in places and had to say that your names were Drake and Josh?
It's not only the names, it's also just the looks, it's the pure essence between the two of us. So we get mistaken all the time, stopped in the street, and they're like, Drake, Drake, Drake. Gosh, Josh is there too.
Yeah, you guys, Josh, take the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take the photo.
Yeah. No, but we did in pre-production. I remember when we were talking about how the Drake and Josh bit. That was really, really fun.
Yeah, Mia closer to Megan.
Yeah,
So
then it could be the whole family.
It's a reboot. Actually, this is
that's
fantastic.
a reboot. Wanted to add the seat.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Motorheads season 2 is actually just Drake and Josh season whatever it is. I don't remember where that show ended.
Say that enough interviews, maybe they'll actually bite on that.
Well, so to start, an actual question. I love shows about cars going fast. Call it the Fast and the Furious fan in me, whatever it is. It is just a fun vibe off the bat. For you guys, how fun was it like to deal with the car stuff in a show like this? Because yeah, there's the personal struggles and the fights and all that, but the car thing would be what got me into it in the first place.
Yeah, it's so fun. And a lot of the cars that we drive, they're older cars. So I think one of the things that I hadn't considered was how hard it is to act and drive manual at the same time on like an old car that you have to like really push in the clutch. So that was something I didn't consider. Was like the scenes that you're doing while you're having to drive, whilst like you're splitting in between the entire film crew. It's a lot of focus that goes into that stuff.
Yeah, especially when you're like trying to play like a coolish character and you're sort of like trying not to like this is every day for me, just driving this, incredible car, just keeping the nerve and throwing dirty glares at people. Yeah.
All the eyes and scratch it, and you're just so nervous.
Yeah, my character didn't really drive too many of the cars, but being around it and seeing all of those cool, especially the scenes at night when they had the whole races happening, it was electric. It was very cool.
And it's very funny you brought up the old cars with the manual. And I, as a kid, wanted a Chevy Impala because it's supernatural. By a kid, I was like
Oh
15 or 16. But I wanted the Chevy Impala. My dad had to explain to me that power steering was not a thing. And I was like, oh, great. So I physically couldn't, I wouldn't be able to turn a wheel of a classic car. Was there anything, doesn't have to be cars, just like on the set in general that you guys learned? Because correct me if I'm wrong, this is filmed in Pennsylvania or set in Pennsylvania.
That in Pennsylvania, yeah.
Yeah. Was there, I saw those license plates and I'm from Pittsburgh. I was like, this is Pennsylvania. Was there anything you learned just being on that set, whether it be the setting or the cars or whatever it is, that you guys were shocked by throughout the process?
Um, I sort of learned just how much it takes a real village to get these sort of car shows going because there's so much sort of safety required. I think it was Dan Skeen was sort of the head of stunts, and we were very lucky. We got the same. I think it was the same stunt team as maybe the boys. I think they just finished another Amazon show and they jumped over. And it's not like just here's the keys, kid, get in. Like it was very meticulous. Like if there was any sort of driving involved. Um, just how premeditated and planned everything was. So it was really cool, sort of as my first major show to see all those moving parts in motion. It can be a little overwhelming, but I felt very safe.
Yeah, Mia, please.
I was just gonna reiterate that and just say, yeah, I've always had so much respect for the stunt people, but this show in particular, I was like, whoa, this is really dangerous, and these people are really like putting their lives at risk. I was terrified for them, and I just kept having to remind myself that these people are professionals and everything. But it's really wild to see that in person, and I just have complete admiration for them. It's incredible.
Yeah. It goes without saying the stunt guys, especially on this show, were the coolest people on set. Like anytime they walked on, they're like leather jackets, they're like slow motion walking, and we're all like, you always stop right when the cool stuff happens. You hit the gas, it's like someone else, and then it's like right when we stop, it's us. So, the one part you want to do, you can't.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Rachel, I given the supernatural connection, I hid a Chevy Impala in a lot of the scenes in the background, little toy match car. So keep your eye out for
Hell
that.
yeah. Well, that now I'm just picturing these stunt guys like the literal the song from SNL where they're like looking cool when you're walking away from an explosion. Like that's how I picture them now, just like walking.
It
I
was
think they do it intentionally because it's like
I
a
know.
speed gate kind of thing. They're like,
Yeah.
you know,
I love it. Well, and I wanted to ask all of you guys. So with a show like this, I do like it as a high school drama, but there's a bunch of fast cars and these kids love car racing and all that kind of stuff. And it feels very original because a lot of the times when we have these teen dramas, it's just like, oh, who and who pissed someone off in a high school, and there's not like that other element to it. What for you guys is the most exciting part about giving this show to the audience now and allowing younger audiences and older audiences to interact with it since it is such a unique kind of combination?
I think that's one of the greatest things about Johnny's writing is that he does initially present these archetypes like the school bully, the cool kid, like all these things. And then before you know it, he's subverted it, he's changed it, and there's a real three-dimensionality to all these characters. So as someone who's sort of playing the bully in a way, I'm really excited to present the other side of the story, sort of like how, if someone is passing on pain, they're probably in pain themselves, and maybe get a conversation started around, that side of emotional and mental health in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it really does kind of keep you on your feet and keep you guessing, and kind of similar to what Josh was saying, like once you think you understand one character, you end up kind of having to rewire your thinking to figure out what is their story. And it really keeps you on your feet, and then add in all the adrenaline from all of the cars and it's really kind of alive. Yeah, I'm excited for everybody to see it.
Yeah, and I want to ask this because it's starting with goddamn Arms Race by Fall Out Boy. I was like, please don't make this a period piece. I don't need to feel ancient. And then it switched to like that Benson Boone song. So I was like, okay, it's not. They're just rocking good music. Was there a song that you guys were just so excited that got included in the show itself? Because the soundtrack, it feels like every other scene there's a like top 100 song of today playing.
Yeah,
Or
they hit a lot in like episode, like later in the season, like 7 and 8, they hit a lot of like Chris Stapleton.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
This I haven't seen.
It's
Not that
good.
I've seen it, actually.
Yeah, I'm excited. From judging by the trailer, I'm like, oh, but yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
It's really good music. I like the show a lot. I think it's such a fun watch. And so thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel.
So much, Rachel.
Can't wait for Drake and Josh season 24. Hi guys, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Doing great. So to start, I asked Ryan and Michael this. I'm gonna ask you guys too. The first interview I did, I realized I had a dream car when I was a teenager because of Supernatural, and it was the Chevy Impala, and my dad had to explain power steering to me because I was like, "Why can't I have this classic car?" And he's like, "5'2", you can't turn the wheel." I want to ask you guys, was there a dream car that you had when you were younger or that you wanted first that you were just like, I want this and couldn't have for whatever reason?
I didn't. I like the my biggest blind spot coming into the show is that I actually know nothing about cars. I don't even have my license. So I didn't have a dream car, but I think after having shot this show, I think the Unbeaten, the 1973 Dodge Charger is a gorgeous car. I spent hundreds of hours around it. So
Just
yeah,
need to get that license.
probably that one. Yes. Once I get a license.
I wanted the like drop top Jeep that Barbie had.
Jeeps are also, I feel like, weirdly a girl car. Like we all wanted Jeeps for one reason or another when we were kids. Probably because of the Barbie car. But I also love that this show, at first I thought it was starting as a period piece and I felt ancient because it starts with Fall Out Boy from when I was like in high school and early college. And then it's like, no, that song's just in the show. So I wanted to ask you guys, was there a song that ended up in the show or you want to end up in the show eventually that you were like, this is really cool that we had this artist or whatever it is?
Ooh, I think I had a couple songs for Caitlin, but one of her, I guess, theme songs that I used in my playlist to sort of help me tap into the character is White Mercedes by Charlie XCX. Because it's like, I mean, it's a car title, but also just like lyrically, it's
Mhm.
very on par with a lot of Caitlin's journey. So I haven't seen the whole show yet, but I do hope that that or something from my playlist makes it in.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know what songs are in it. But I
There's
trust, yeah, I trust
Olivia.
these people.
Olivia Rodrigo makes it at one point.
That's
There's, I think, Zach Brown. There's just like a lot of songs that I was like, or Benson Boone is like how I knew it wasn't a flashback because that was the next song. So I was like, oh, okay, great. It's just it happened to be Fall Out Boy. But I also love that this show mixes genres in such an interesting way because I think, we have teen dramas that we're used to, which are like about high school and about friendships. And then you have things like The Fast and the Furious, which is about driving fast cars and family, but whatever. But I like that this show marries all of that together and has a really unique take on like what a teen drama is. For you guys as actors, how is it kind of building that genre and mixing them together and getting to create something fresh and new like this show?
I mean, it was super, super fun. It was I think the more layers that there is with a project, the more fun it is for me as an actress. So I loved that it is like a YA show, but it's not just that. I've done YA shows before and I love the sort of the car action element. And I do think that like the adults on the show are also play such a critical, important part, like as equally so as the kids on the show. And yeah, it's layered and it made it funner. It was fun. It was fun.
I have never watched a YA show. It was a very interesting experience being on one. I found out at the end of the season that the kids had a group chat without me. And it made me realize, wow, I'm really not in this generation anymore. I was like, I've officially crossed over to being like the adult you don't want like listening in on your conversations. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen it, so I don't know how the two mesh, but I'm sure people will love it. People love YA, the YA genre, and people love cars, so it's a no-brainer that, Johnny would mesh the two together.
Yeah, that makes me think about like whenever a period piece is set in 2000s. I'm like, no, that's not a period piece. That was like last year. Why are we setting things when I was growing up? I don't love that. Period pieces are in the 80s and 70s and 60s. But I do really like that this show is like, yes, like I said, the YA thing and then the cars, but it also is like it has this family mystery that I think is a really interesting kind of through line for the show as a whole and a driving force, at least for me as an audience member. When you are on something that does have that mystery, are you the kind of actors who want to know the answer to the questions before so you know what you're playing? Or would you rather go on the journey with the audience and figure out the mystery as the scripts kind of come in?
I like knowing before because I do think, at least for me, I do think it affects the performance. Like the last show I did, One of Us is Lying, I had the book to use as context. So like, even though I didn't have all the scripts while we were shooting, like we knew what was going to happen. And I think that it was a great help because even if it's like the smallest tweak, I do think it makes a difference. So I do like knowing ahead of time.
I think it's a double-edged sword. Like you want to know because, you want to know as much as possible and you're naturally curious. And then sometimes knowing, then you can be maybe disappointed or let down because it's not what you thought it was going to be. So maybe next time, yeah, we'll see. It's such an interesting thing. I always say like, I'd like to know, but maybe next time I'll play with not knowing.
Yeah, and I do have to ask because I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So every time a show is filmed in Pennsylvania, I'm like, well, that it's a wild state. Was there anything you guys learned about Pennsylvania as a whole throughout this process that was just like that can't possibly be real about that state? And then it 100% was.
Well, I actually researched that there was a big Puerto Rican community there.
That's what Michael said because
Yeah, so
he has a lot of like people immigrated from New York to Pennsylvania because it was close enough by.
yeah, so I thought that was really an interesting historical fact that I didn't know.
What about
Yeah.
you? Was there anything you learned?
We shot it in Toronto, but my experience with Pennsylvania is I lived in Philly for 2 years when I was 13 through almost 15, so I guess almost 3 years. And I hadn't thought about my time there until I shot this show, and then I went back and like read my teenage diaries and just kind of re-delved back into that part of my life because I had lived in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, well, it's so funny because when Michael said that, it reminded me of like the watching The Brutalist because I was like, that's right, people loved to come to America, and then they're like, let's go to Pennsylvania, and it's how I ended up in Pennsylvania. But it was just very funny to me that I'm like, yep, that's what the state is. It's the second choice when people come to the U.S. But for our last question, I love when people get to see a new thing go out into the wild, whether it be a movie or a first season of a TV show. What are you guys the most excited about with audiences getting to interact with Motorheads and go on this journey for themselves.
I mean, I think Natalie said earlier, but like there is such a nostalgia factor to the show, and I think that with how the world is, it's a nice it's a good way to sort of take your mind off of, you know, what's going on in real life, because it is a feel good show, even with all the like mystery elements and all the turmoil and, you know, all the angst of a YA show. I hope people walk away just feeling better and, you know, more love in their heart.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I feel like when I read it, that it was gonna feel like a hug for the audience, you know, and like a welcoming back to the audience to something, to a sweeter time and place. And I think that's a good thing. We could all use a little more sweetness.
I agree. I love the show a lot. I think it's such a fun watch. And so thank you guys so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thank you guys.
Bye.